Magdalene. The second full-length LP from singer-songwriter and producer FKA Twigs details themes of loneliness, physical pain, and the inequality within normative heterosexual relationships. It's presented with a raw vulnerability and some otherworldly production. These tracks are minimally constructed. Nevertheless, they conjure up a spiritual experience. But why Magdalene? In the Gospel, Mary Magdalene was a devout follower of Jesus. She remained present during his crucifixion, she was the first to witness his resurrection, and the first to preach the good news of that miracle. History has frequently cited her as a repentant prostitute. In christening the album with her name, Twigs tempts us to uncover more of Magdalene's narrative, and thus, her own. While Mary Magdalene largely appears in only one song on the album, her essence echoes throughout every minute of Magdalene. She represents the selfless and enduring female figure who persists in the face of adversity. Mary Magdalene was the first woman history condemned. We were told she was a prostitute, a misreading originating from the mouth of a powerful man, Gregory the Great. In 581, he confused her with a sinful woman mentioned in Luke 7:36. Magdalene's image was then corrupted. His misreading was addressed by Pope Paul VI in 1969. But after 1400 years, her mislabeling as a prostitute had already been sealed in pop culture. She's had no authority over her narrative. Any woman that's done anything can be subject to that. Twigs has been subject to that. And so she uses Magdalene as a personal allegory for her own reflection and redefinition following heartbreak. When Talia Barnett released her debut LP1 in 2014, she centered it around a fight with her lover. In Magdalene, she's had enough. She's walking out the door.
If I walk out the door, it starts our last goodbye.
The choir-like thousand eyes sees Talia on the verge of breaking off a relationship, hoping her lover offers some resistance.
If you don't pull me back, it wakes 1,000 times.
Magdalene meditates on her failed romantic relationship with actor Robert Pattinson. Consequently, she fears the media scrutiny that is bound to follow in the wake of their breakup, and rightfully so. It left the media and Pattinson's fans attempting to prescribe her. The album follows her torturous thoughts and the questions that remain after their dissolve.
It's gonna be cold with all those eyes.
Similarly, Mary Magdalene's relationship with Jesus has been publicly scrutinized and dissected throughout history, reinvented one age after another. From a sinful prostitute to Christ's lover to a celibate nun, all due to miscommunication, a motif Twigs elaborates on in Home With You, as she struggles to balance her relationship while attempting to care for herself. In 2017, the singer fell ill, eventually learning she had 6 tumors inside of her womb, comparable in size to small fruits.
Apples, cherries, pain, breathe out, pain.
Talia's voice acts as a conduit for her emotions. And like her feelings, they change dynamically. Twigs is yet to identify with a hero who represents both strength and vulnerability.
I never seen a hero like me in a sci-fi.
So she touches on the perseverance of Mary Magdalene, borrowing and exhibiting her strength,
Mary Magdalene would never let her loved ones die.
while also displaying absolute vulnerability.
Didn't know that you were lonely.
The tumors wounded Twigs's confidence as a woman, which agitated her relationship. Her partner grew lonely as she spent time away from home during her hospitalization and following surgery, leaving her to wonder whether their subsequent fallout was her fault.
Just told me I'd be running down the hills.
Although Talia admits she never told her partner of her own isolation, suffering through her illness alone.
And I'd have told you I was lonely too.
It's a truly heartbreaking misunderstanding, one that could have been remedied through transparency and hearing one another's perspective. Sonically, the production is out of this world. Glitch pop, baroque, hip-hop, EDM, and jazz are woven into short, focused tracks that complement her memoirs. Sad Days instrumental builds towards an inspiring chase, featuring what sounds like a ticking clock. The perfect juxtaposition for an emotional tale referencing a fleeting relationship. Magdalene may not be able to rewrite her story, but as a result, she becomes a symbol through which Twigs rediscovers herself. In a way, she uses Magdalene to exert her own control over men. She's recruited a collective of male co-producers including Jack Antonoff, Skrillex, 106 Point Never, and most notably, Nicholas Jarre. Jarre's imprint is all over this. He's a master of utilizing empty space, ensuring the production never works against her vocals, rather follows her emotional lead.
And it's a sad day for sure.
Her voice prevails above all.
Would you make a wish on my love?
And the end result is a perfect unity. Mary Magdalene opens like a theater piece. A siren signals that the drama is about to begin. Curtains are pulled back as a twinkling piano sets the scene. Then, utter silence, as Talia's voice takes center stage.
A woman's work.
A vocoder-like effect parallels her voice.
A woman's prerogative.
It's a track about female empowerment, how it's a woman's right to think of herself first.
A woman's time to embrace, she must put herself first.
She chooses to be vulnerable, opening herself up to love.
Just a little bit closer to me. Step just a little bit closer to me.
Singing of intimacy, she ties it in with Mary Magdalene.
I can lift you higher. I do it like Mary Magdalene.
Twigs chooses to see Magdalene as Jesus' right-hand woman, his lover. Now, let's imagine for 1 second that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were lovers. In that context, her sensuality would have been a form of healing for Jesus, making her a mystic in her own right. But that idea alone would have people at odds. Without contest, religious writers and leaders labeled her a whore, instantly devaluing her credibility as a prominent and influential figure in Jesus' inner circle. It was the beginning of the patriarchy taking control of a woman's narrative. Regardless of her own achievements, her story is only validated because it is attached to Christ's. She will forever be in the shadow of someone else. It's a war women have been battling for centuries.
A woman's war. Unoccupied history.
Female figures have been written out of history or have had their roles diminished in favor of their male counterparts. It isn't long before the wrath of Mary comes bursting through the production. Twigs is reframing the past. She embraces her female identity and demands her voice be heard. Talia is rediscovering herself through Magdalene, after losing sight of her own greatness. Each song on the album is a new way for her to reflect on the emotional consequences of her heartbreak, so that she can move forward. The common stages of grief are littered throughout: anger in Thousand Eyes, pain, guilt, and isolation in Home With You, bargaining in Sad Day. Depression overtakes her ability to react or even move in Daybed.
Careful on my footsteps, possessive is my daybed.
She willingly appears powerless, but by publicly doing so, she regains control of her tale. Acceptance of the relationship's end never arrives. Cellophane sees her at a stage of reconstruction, still questioning how the relationship might have failed.
Why don't I do it for you? Why won't you do it for me?
But her narrative has been heard. It's still being written, leaving listeners eager to see the rest of her story unfold. For her second LP, FKA Twigs sought a person to believe in, not a creed. After her heartbreak, Twigs associated herself as Mary Magdalene, a woman who was a companion to someone more famous and deified than her. She baptized her album as Magdalene because the story of Mary Magdalene is the story of all powerful women. Twigs channels the story of Mary Magdalene to explore the pain, vulnerability, and strength to be found simply in being a woman. She knows there's more to Magdalene's story, that women can be innocent and pure, but also sensual, strong, and powerful. So, Talia offers Magdalene the voice she never had, undoing those generational threads by defining herself outside of her male counterpart. She has embraced what it is to be a woman of her own making, defending the mastery of her story. Begin writing your own narrative with this week's sponsor, Skillshare. In her class, Writing Character-Driven Short Stories, Yun Lee walks you through prompts, strategies, and advice for writing compelling characters and turning situations into stories. You can get full access to the class using the first link below. Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives, where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. They offer thousands of inspiring classes in productivity, photography, music making, and a ton more. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable, especially when compared to pricey in-person classes and workshops. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month, but the first 500 of my viewers to click the link in the description will get 2 free months of premium membership. Turn your work into a polished piece with Skillshare's online classes. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents. If you haven't given Magdalene a listen, do yourself a favor. It's truly beautiful and one of my favorite albums of 2019. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it, and don't forget to hit that bell so you never miss an episode. Hit up the link in the description to get yourself some Middle 8 merch or to support the channel on Patreon. Every little bit helps keep me motivated and keeps more videos on the way. Tell me, what's your favorite track from Magdalene? Mine is Home With You. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and keep listening.